Failure. It's the word nobody wants to hear. The thing we run from, avoid, and sometimes even fear more than trying itself. But failure isn't your enemy. It's actually your greatest ally, your unfair advantage. We're going to unravel the psychology behind failure and give you a step-by-step guide on how you can make it a superpower, including a bonus tip at the end. Why failure is misunderstood. Let's face it, we've all been conditioned to see failure as the ultimate villain. It's the big red X we avoid at all costs, the thing we tiptoe around because we've been taught that failing means we're not good enough, not smart enough, not capable enough. But here's the truth. Failure is wildly misunderstood. It's not the villain, it's the plot twist your story needs. Think back to when you were a kid, learning to ride a bike. Did you get it right the first time? Of course not. You wobbled, you fell, you probably scraped your knees and cried a little. But then you got back on the bike, and suddenly, you have balance. Now imagine if you had quit after your first fall. You'd still be walking everywhere. That's the thing about failure. It's part of learning, not the opposite of it. But somewhere along the way, we lose that perspective. Maybe it's school, where failing a test feels like the end of the world. Maybe it's social media, where everyone's highlight reels make it look like they've got life all figured out. Whatever the reason, we start to believe that failure equals inadequacy. And that's the biggest lie of all. Take Michael Jordan, for example. The guy was cut from his high school basketball team. Imagine going home and telling your parents, "Hey, I guess I'm just bad at basketball." But MJ didn't stop there. He used that rejection to work harder, train smarter, and eventually become the GOAT. Failure didn't stop him. It gave him the map. Failure is just feedback. Here's where most people get it twisted. Failure isn't a judgment. It's feedback. It's the life's way of telling you that even though you might be doing something wrong, you'll figure it out soon. Think about it like this. When you're trying to learn something new, failure is inevitable. Imagine baking cookies for the first time. The first batch? Burnt to a crisp. But after a little reflection, you realize you had the oven too hot. The second batch? Better. By the third batch, you're making cookies so good that your friends think you bought them from a bakery. That's failure in action. It's not telling you to quit, it's just teaching you what not to do. Another way to think about failure is like a GPS. When you take a wrong turn, your GPS doesn't freak out. It calmly recalculates your route. Failure does the same thing. It redirects you, pointing you toward the path that will actually get you where you want to go. But here's the catch. If you give up after the first wrong turn, you'll never make it to your destination. Look at Thomas Edison. The dude failed 1,000 times trying to invent the light bulb. But did he cry about it? Nope. He literally said, "I haven't failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that don't work." That's the mindset you need. Every failure is just one step closer to success, like leveling up in a video game. Why do we fear failure? Let's be real. Most people don't fear failure itself. They fear what other people will think. You're not scared of starting that business. You're scared of Aunt at Thanksgiving saying, "Told you it wouldn't work." You're not nervous about auditioning for that role. You're worried about your friends laughing if you don't get it. But let me hit you with some truth. No one's paying as much attention to your failures as you think. People are too busy obsessing over their own lives to care. And even if someone does notice, so what? They aren't living your life. You are. Perfectionism is also another reason why some people fear failure. We think we have to nail it on the first try or it doesn't count. But perfectionism is just a clever way of avoiding vulnerability. If you never start, you never fail, right? Wrong. If you never start, you've already failed. But then there's the internal pressure, the fear of disappointing yourself. That little voice in your head that whispers, "If you fail, it means you're not good enough." That voice thrives on the belief that failure defines you. But here's the truth. Failure isn't a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of your courage. It means you took a step, you tried something, and you dared to put yourself out there. That's bravery, not failure. Here's the takeaway. Stop letting imaginary opinions hold you back. The people who matter will respect you for trying, not for playing it safe. How failure is your superpower. Failure isn't just a setback, it's your secret weapon. Every time you fail, you're building resilience, the mental toughness to handle anything life throws at you. It's like a gym for your mind. The more reps you do, the stronger you get. Failure also sparks creativity. When Plan A crashes, you're forced to think differently, explore new ideas, and innovate. Some of the best breakthroughs happen when failure pushes you out of your comfort zone. And let's not forget humility. Failure keeps your ego in check and reminds you there's always more to learn. That humility makes you open to feedback, which is crucial for growth. Take J.K. Rowling. Before Harry Potter became a global phenomenon, she was a single mom on welfare. Oh, and she got rejected by 12 publishers. Imagine hearing, your book is not going to sell, 12 freaking times. Most people would have quit after rejection number 3, but she didn't. And now? She's richer than the Queen of England. Failure is what separates people who dream from people who do. The more you fail, the stronger you get. So instead of avoiding failure, embrace it. It's literally your training ground for greatness. How to use this superpower? Here's where we get practical. We've created a 3-step process that you can use every time you fail. Step 1, reflect. This is where you sit down, get real with yourself, and ask yourself the all-important question, what went wrong? Reflection isn't about beating yourself up. It's about understanding. Think of it like watching a replay of a game you lost. You're not watching to feel bad. Instead, you're looking for the moment things went south so you can fix it next time. For example, let's say you started a side hustle that flopped. Upon reflection, you realize you didn't do enough market research. Or maybe you see that you focused too much on perfecting the product and neglected marketing. Once you identify the root cause, you're already halfway to a solution. Reflection is about separating the emotional sting of failure from the logical lessons it offers. Remember, you're not the failure, the situation is. Step 2, learn. Here's the twist most people miss. Every failure comes with a hidden reward. The trick is finding it. Just ask yourself what you gain from the whole experience. This step is about turning failure into a learning experience. It's like mining for gold, messy at first, but worth it when you find the nuggets. Take the classic example of Thomas Edison. Every time his light bulb prototype failed, he didn't throw a tantrum. Instead, he figured out what didn't work and adjusted. Over time, those lessons piled up until he had a breakthrough. Remember, learning from failure doesn't just help you in the moment. It compounds over time. Each lesson builds on the last, creating a foundation for future success. Step 3, adjust. This is the most important step because it turns your failure into progress. Reflection and learning are great, but if you don't take action, it's all just mental gymnastics. Adjusting is basically what you'll be doing differently compared to last time. It is where you take the insights from your failure and tweak your approach. For example, imagine you've just bombed a job interview. Instead of sulking, you adjust by practicing mock interviews, researching the company better, or brushing up on your skills. The next time you walk into an interview, you're more prepared and more confident. Adjusting isn't just about fixing what went wrong. It's about optimizing what's already working. You're not starting from scratch, you're starting from experience. We promised you a bonus tip on how to deal with your failure at the beginning of the video. So here it is. Learn to laugh at your failures. Trust us, this one's underrated. Humor takes the sting out of mistakes and keeps you from taking yourself too seriously. For example, did you know Steve Jobs once got fired from the company he started? Imagine how much it would sting getting kicked out of your own office in a company you built. Did he sulk forever? Nope. He started another company, learned from his mistakes, and came back to Apple stronger than ever. The lesson? If you can laugh at your failures, you've already won half the battle. Because failure doesn't define you, your reaction to it does. Here's the bottom line. Failure isn't something to fear, it's something to welcome. It's not a roadblock, it's a launch pad. Every failure is a lesson in disguise, a chance to grow, and an opportunity to get one step closer to your goals. So the next time you fail, don't beat yourself up. Celebrate it. Because failure isn't the opposite of success. It's the foundation of it. Keep failing, keep learning, and most importantly, keep going. Your future self will thank you. And hey, if you've got a failure story of your own, drop it in the comments. Let's normalize falling flat on our faces and getting back up stronger. If this video helped you transform your views on failure, hit the like button and consider subscribing for more valuable content to get you to the best version of yourself.